All right, I'm going to be talking about how I go about spraying, doors. Now I'm working in a remodel upstairs bonus room. I only have one door to spray, and I got a couple bifold doors, so I don't have multiple doors to stand up in a room. So I'm just going to spray it, leaning up against the wall right here. I'm going to talk a little bit about my setup that I spray with interior trim. So I've got a Tritech T5 hooked up downstairs, running at 2200 psi when I spray trim. I've got a Paint Life hose whip right here, a 3-foot hose whip hooked up to a Z swivel, Exit Flex Z swivel. So the Z swivel coupled with the hose whip just makes everything much more nimble and flexible and a lot less fatigue, on your wrists and hands and forearms. My gun itself, I got a Tritech. I only like 2-finger guns, so I got a Tritech 380 gun right here set up. And on my gun today, I'm going to be using a 310 tip. This is an Exit Flex tip on an Exit Flex guard, which is a multi-use guard. So 2 sides to the guard. It'll house Rack X tips, Rack 5 tips, Titan tips, Tri-Tap tips, Bedford tips. It'll run all your tips. One of the beauties, of Exit Flex products. So great tips, multi-use guard. There's my setup that I use to spray doors with. So here's my door right here, getting ready to spray. And I'm going to get overspray onto the ceilings and onto the walls. Now the question is, people are going to say, well, aren't you going to see that, when I get ready to roll the walls? These walls have been painted, a lot of times, and you are not going to see that. You might see something like that, if you had bare drywall and you got overspray on it and then just did 1 coat of paint over the top of that. But we're using a high-end paint that's going to cover right over the overspray, so it's not going to be an issue. You will not see that. I'll even show you that, once we do these walls, that it's not a problem. We've been doing it, for over 20 years, and it never flashes through. You never actually see it. I'm going to just turn this door, flip and rotate it, and then I'll spray the back side of it. Just be careful when I'm rotating. There's a lot of ways you can rotate it. You can grab it here, you can grab it here where the hinges are and spin it around. So I'm going to spray my sides. When I do a door, I always spray my edges first. And then, there's multiple ways you can spray a door. I can go from side to side, or I can go up and down. I always go up and down. I only want to, walk the distance of this door, say a garage door. I only want to walk the distance 1 time. So I'm going to spray this door. I'm right-handed, so I typically would start from the right, move to the left and work my way. I can start from the left and move right. It's, what's more convenient, to you. Now I saw, somebody on social media, spraying, these, like your routed edges right here, spraying these first and then going back, spraying the door up and down, which you don't need to do. If your gun is like facing, straight at all these edges, and of course, all that stuff's going to get coated 100%. You don't need to do like, these little shadow boxes first and then spray the whole door. It's a pre-primed door. It's not actually wood, but it is pre-primed. It's hollow, typical interior door. Very forgiving because it's wood grain. So if you actually started and spit onto the door, you wouldn't actually see that spit. It's very unlikely you would see it. You still want to practice, good practice, and start spraying off your surface and then begin spraying. And I will not release the trigger until I'm done with the door. So it's going to be all the way across. If I release the trigger, it'll spit. If I pull the trigger, it will spit. So I try to just keep it, as simple as possible. So tops and bottoms of the doors. One of the questions is people are going to ask, do you paint the tops and bottoms of the doors? These are interior doors that are not exposed to moisture, and typically nobody ever paints the tops and bottoms of the door. I wouldn't say nobody ever, but it's rare that people, especially new construction and painters, they typically don't paint the tops and bottoms of these. All right, now I'm gonna get ready to start spraying. One of the things that I typically have a duster brush, and I vacuum the doors off, but I'll dust them off, before I spray. You wanna have the floor vacuum too, before you start spraying, or you'll just kick dust up, onto the floor itself. So I start by doing, again, my edges. Once again, spray the edges. I'm gonna start off the door, come down, in, off the door. Shoot my sides. I typically two coat my doors too. Oh, now I'm gonna start top, off the door. You start top or bottom, overlap 50%. Keep my gun angle straight at the door. Going over the top, coming back down. If you don't go off the door, you'll end up causing a run. Go off the door. Just like that. Now I can flip it. Want to look at it, make sure I got a nice even coat across the entire door. Then I can flip it. I just rotate it. Bring it back to where it was. Grab the top. Set it back in place. Just like that. One thing you want to think about is, are you going to create a run on your wall if you don't let it dry before you do the other side? So if I'm concerned about a run on the wall, I can move my door to a new location. As you can see right there, it starts to get pretty heavy. All right, so now I'm going to start the door again, opposite side. So I can start off top, off bottom, start, overlap. Got to bend down a little bit to keep my gun angle right. So if my doors were pre-painted, this one's pre-primed. I two coat pre-primed doors. Now if they were pre-painted, I'd be one with emerald urethane, one coat, and I would be done. Now if you're concerned, about this up here on the top, we are working in here. I can literally just take a sponge and I could just wipe that off if I was actually concerned about it. But I'm not concerned about it. But, just for instance, if you wanted to get rid of the overspray on the wall, you could actually just wipe it off. So there's the door. It's all done. Once again, look at it again. I'm just going to look down the door. I'm doing a second coat, so if there was any light spots, they would actually get hit. If this is one coat done, I'd want to make sure, it's gelled out, all the way across the door, and no light spots. If there were light spots and I'm only shooting one coat, I'd reshoot it. But I got all, the angles and everything just by keeping my gun, facing straight at the door the entire time. Once again, gun angle coming down. What I don't want to do is come down and have my gun angle shooting downward. If it's shooting downward, this little lip right here would not get painted, so that's why I gotta come down. I've gotta bend over. Don't be lazy. Same with this. I don't want my gun angle coming up. Same this top lip right here. My gun angle is like this. Top lip is not gonna get sprayed, so my gun angle has gotta be straight the entire time when I'm spraying. So there it is, how to spray a door the Idaho Painter way.